Before I start painting this is a relatively complex piece, and I want to think about how I can simplify it and make the design stronger. So what I'm going to want to do is my little Notan with 3 values. I'm not going to do it just black and white. I'm going to do it with 3 values, mid-tone, dark, and light. And then think about what elements I want to keep, what elements I want to get rid of, and how that's going to work. I was debating whether I wanted to keep the figure, but I think I do. But I don't like this tree that's coming out of the back of the figure. It's not adding to the picture. That could be a whole light area back behind there. I don't like this tree that's really straight. And I think I love this tree. And so perhaps this tree can take some more of those elements. I really like this light area that's running down through here and joining this big sort of broken triangle of light that's back in this corner. And then there's another beautiful little light piece that runs down into here, and just some little pieces of it running down this hill. So those are going to be some things that I want to be sure and maintain. And then I put this into my sleeve that is broken into quadrants so that I could see where things were to get this pathway set in the right place, because I love this pathway and I love how it comes in here. It starts way over in this corner and you know, almost 3/4 of the way there, and then drops over. This is the center line right here. It drops over, and this is center here, and stays halfway, almost, yeah, about halfway between those by the time it finishes with that little light piece that's back behind the head. And then this piece, see how high it is up here, and comes down in a beautiful angle down through there. So I wanted to keep those to know where they were. Let's go ahead and see what we can do about drawing this in. And I'm going to start with that pathway because the pathway is so crucial. So the pathway comes, I marked on my tape here my half. So that's my halfway point, this is my halfway point, and then the quarters, so that we've got them the same as that. So we're going to come in from this corner, and actually, nope, doesn't do that. It comes low on the corner here. There's other stuff up there, so that line's not going to hurt too much. And then my halfway and a quarter up, there's a crossover point. So this comes out to there. And then at that point, it goes over just a little bit, goes behind this tree. Now this is my point here. So my final is not going to come more than halfway above that. It's going to come behind, not going to go above that. So it's going to angle down, find its way into there. That's where my path is. So let's see, that's the tree. This is the other half of the path. This comes up. And now here is my other line, my crossover. So the path is about to there. And then that rock comes in and about halfway. Maybe halfway, angles down, angles here, and pathway comes back just very slightly this way. Some more rocks go off there. Now figure still is not all the way up to halfway. So here's halfway, figure is only halfway up there. Figure's head is just a, see, this is this line. Figure's head is just a little bit above that horizon. Here's figure's head. Oh, I've got this rock just a wee touch high. Here's an arm. Here's another arm that comes down and crosses. Got a walking stick. Legs come out. Oops, a little higher on that knee. Shoulder comes out a little bit more. Okay, so there's a placement of the figure. No tree behind it, and now this tree comes out of this, where that turn was, just inside of that turn. Now it's going to cross up and be in this quadrant, yeah, in this quadrant here. Let's see, this had to go out further. Cross over. Part of it goes off. Need to keep that feeling of how much it moves back and forth there. Because that's part of what I like about that twisty look at that tree. And this is going to be my dark passage, that shape of that tree, and then it drops down and down into there somewhere, and we can overemphasize it if we want. And now this tree, let's go ahead and break it like that too. So maybe it comes and angles a little bit. Maybe it's got another branch that comes off of there. And what I love is this feeling of a walkway through here, which means this branch is probably a little too low. There. Now there's more of that. And should this come forward a little bit more? Maybe it's forward just a touch more. And that one can roll back there just a little bit more. Okay, that's that light line running back through there. Okay, now my other light line. So we're going to have broken branches. My other light line comes from just below this quarter, runs down in through here, finds its way to there. So this is a light passage. And then there's bits of light elsewhere. This is a light passage that goes up that hill, up into there. There's some pieces of light and maybe another rock over here. And then there's another tree up here coming out of that light. It's going to go off. Do we like that? Maybe not quite that much. Since I'm inventing this tree, let's just maybe make it just a little more upright until it gets up here further. And then those go upright. There's going to be, what do I want to say, more calligraphy, broken branches up in there further. Okay, so this is going to be light here, light there, light through this triangle, and then it's mid-tone through here. Some little light bits running in here, little broken bits. This is going to be mid-tone back in most of this with some bits of light that show. So let's start by just throwing in some light colors. Light. I'm not doing colors yet, Margaret. You're going to just do black and white. So where it's staying white or very light, I'm going to leave it white. And then we're just going to come in and we're going to do a mid-tone on there, and I'm using Indithrone Blue. Nice, easy way to get dark. I just have to be careful not to get this on too dark. So we're going to have a little bit of mid-tone here. The figure is going to go dark, but let's go ahead and start with mid-tone on there. Now, I have to sort of remember where we're staying light, but we also have just a spattering of mid-tone that goes in on top of this light in through here. It's going to be broken as it runs through there, comes down, and it has a little mid-tone just behind that figure on the one side. That's my pathway. Don't lose it, Margaret. And there's a mid-tone section just the other side of there, and a mid-tone that comes out of that pathway like that, and then broken mid-tones out here. This is broken, and that nice beautiful light, let's paint next to it so that we don't lose it, and leaving some little light patches behind on that hillside. Feeling a grass there. Uneven mid-tone up in here. But keep that light running through there, because I love that passage of what that light's doing. And then there's a little bigger piece of it up in there. And then that's that pathway. It's just, we've got to be able to see the light of that pathway. It's pretty light there. We've got just a little mid-tone in on top of the light over there. Where else does this need it? That pathway, okay. That piece was fairly dark that I had on my brush. And then this is darkish right in here. That mid-tone, or that light just comes down and sort of stops in there. So is this ready to dry? This light passages up here, but not too dreadfully light. So this is going to have to dry before I can put the darks on there. When the darks go on, this is going to start making this whole thing sing. So we've got patches of light, and this light comes through sort of in this triangle out here. And I might even lift a little bit more right here. Stay pretty light back behind the figure. It's pretty light back there. This is, let me just tie some of that together so that it doesn't feel so disjointed. Okay, very abstract, very abstract. So we're looking at mid-tones in through here. And of course, when I'm going to put some more darks in on top of this, which will change it. We'll even have some darks with a little bit of the leaves. So this got to dry before I can do anything else. We'll leave it for now. So I've got the lights and the midtones here, and now we need to just identify where the dark passages are. So this painting is a lot more sort of dark midtone than it is dark, and there's a lot of light back in there. So for this, I'm gonna maybe be a little under for the dark, but let's just see what we need to do. Yeah, I'm debating here whether to include some of this dark on this hillside in the dark, because, yeah, in a way it probably should be part of the dark. You know, there's so many shades in here that sometimes you get a little lost on what you should actually be running really dark. But let me just make a little bit more darker version of my Indothrone blue and go ahead and start doing this. So we've dropped out. We're not doing this tree here. So we're doing this tree and open it, and then, but we've got this dark passage here. So let me go ahead and get that put in. So it comes off of this corner up into that, finds itself in among this person, and I'm just gonna break them into it. It breaks out into here just a little for those feet. And then the shape of the shoulders. It's just all going to be one dark patch here. And let's just make that head be part of that dark. And that rock comes out just a little further there. there's a darker patch right up in here too. So sort of that little bit of break feeling darker there. Okay. Now the trees. So this tree comes out of here, finds its way up. Beautiful calligraphy of tree up into some of that mid-tone and stops in among those. It's going to come out and be interesting back up into here. So what if my brush marks aren't perfect? So I like these dark branches against that mid-tone, and then there's some pieces up in here as well. It's a little fatter down toward the bottom. Tree comes up, finds its way up into here, works up, reaches back over, and then it's got one more trunk that works back into here, and maybe some pieces up into there, little bits. So just getting these darks in, suddenly those midtones really are working very, very well. Once I get this tree in, I can see if I should put darks over, make that even darker in that area. So we're changing this tree here. It's not exactly the tree that we have, but I'm going to make it a little fatter here at the bottom so that it's fatter than that guy. But I do like the idea of it maybe breaking apart more as it gets up into here, finding its way up in among those trees. Maybe it comes up into there. And then my last tree up here breaks across that light area. So this is going to be, it's a tree that's got a lot of little lower branches, sort of almost bushy-like to start with. And I think, yes, we do need to say that this is a dark patch running down this hillside and joining that together. It's not going to be solid dark, but it's definitely, and there's that rock, and it's going to run across, find its way across through there, join this one to there, and ooh, when we get this a little bit darker behind this pathway, that pathway suddenly stands out that much more. Same with right there. And that's going to be more of dark passage here. And then I also, maybe we need to see that feeling of the dark sponge work that's going to happen to help tie this area of the trees together. So let's just get dark paint on here and throw some dark in there, but letting that light roll through. And does that help that pathway? I don't want to lose, this pathway needs to find its way along in here. Okay. Okay, I need to stop on it. I need to stop on this because we don't want that too dark. Take that up into there just a little more. Don't want to lose this beautiful light patch. I think we need to stop. But I do see one other thing. There's always something I always need to see. I need to tie this tree together here a little bit more. Okay, I think that does it. That ties it together. That's all we needed. Stop, Margaret. Stop, stop, stop. some of what makes that light patch stand out is that there's some dark next to it. Some of this is going to be, so, you know, we almost needed 4 values here to really see this, but this is good enough. This is good enough. Get out of there. We now have our value patch, and the feeling of this, and I'm still feeling like something's not working for my, you know, I think what I need to actually put in this little patch right here to make this, yes, and there's a little patch right here as well to make that road feel like it's going through there. And it's going to be light and dark on that rock there. Is that feeling a little better? I have a feeling that road is going to be a little bit problematic. And I think it's going to be important, as I'm looking at this, that we keep this area up here as light as possible to really make that road work. So I need to lift this some more. There's going to be a difference in this. None of that is as dark as those trees. I know we weren't supposed to have 4 values, but like I was saying, it almost feels like we need to, because there are things that I want darkish, but not as dark as those trees or the figure. That looks better. Now they've got some balance, and okay, there's a bit of a rock here. We can let that be just a little darker right there. Let this be a triangle of dark coming down into there, and get that going all the way off that edge up there. Okay. This, of course, is not going to be quite as light as this light down in here, but it's still a light patch up in there. So, you know, all of this area is going to be quite light, and we need to keep that in mind, that that's all going to be quite light. And yeah, this is light. The darker area right behind it. Same with right there. Let that go up that hill so you can sort of see that it's going up that hill. And there's another little light patch right here that's going to be important for that road. Get it lifted back out. I just want to be sure that that feeling of the road works its way through here, and you know what's going to happen with that road so that it does. We're going to have some light and dark things that are happening in this area that I'll need to deal with later. I think we need to just think of all that as being mid-tone in there, even though I put some dark on it. That's all mid-tone. Works better if it's mid-tone. And this, so this is the place where you're sort of figuring out how something needs to change, what needs to happen. So that when I go to do the final painting, I have a better idea of what my roadmap is and how the picture's going to come together. And that's not there. In my photographs, there is a branch that works across the top, but not that far down and not that strong. And I don't think it's important. I think it's better to just have some mid-tone leaves up there. Okay, am I happy now? We want that to happen. Okay. Oh, and that's the other thing I liked. Let's see if we can lift a little bit right here. So we'll end up playing with a little bit of light against the dark, a little dark against the light at the base of that tree. And I sort of like that little passage that I'm seeing in there. And then this could continue being a little dark there. A little bit dark right in this corner. Okay. And then a very light passage. This all needs to go even lighter. And light there in the front. I do now need to stop and get my little self out of here. I'm seeing one other thing. This is not light down in here. This is mid-tone. Yeah, that's better. That's better. So then we have a sort of a light triangle that's going to be up in here that then picks up and rolls up these hills and then is joined by this little piece of light here. And then we've got a lot of mid-tone holding it together, and then we've got some dark patches that are going to work their way through this that ties the whole piece together. Okay, so that's my Notan. That's my beginning piece. Yeah, I won't. I was going to talk a little bit about how we're going to start the painting, but I'm going to wait until my next lesson before I do that, because we're going to start with a very loose wash of the colors that are in underneath of there to make the lightest patches in this painting.